Problem number 4 is a mixture problem. What we're going to do is try to find out how many gallons of this 70% salt solution do we have to mix, put in with this 100 gallons of a 20% solution in order to get it, the 20% solution, we want to get that up to a 60% solution. Here's the way I do these problems. I'm going to draw beakers as if we were actually doing this. So here's a beaker, and in this beaker we've got our 70% solution. So I'm going to put the 70 outside as a characteristic. And how much is inside? Well, I don't know, right? It says how many gallons of this? We don't know. So I'm going to let that be X. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pour this into, all right, we're going to add that into what? Now we're going to add it into 100 gallons of a 20% solution. So I'm going to put the number of gallons inside, and the percentage is on the outside. So what I've got so far is I've got 100 gallons of a 20% solution, and I don't know how many gallons of the 70% solution do I want to pour in here. But what I do want to get out is this. I want this to equal, okay, probably a little bit more in here. We want this to bring, what we want to do is bring the 20% solution up to a 60% solution. So I want that to be 60. And now, how many gallons do we have in here? Well, we've got 100 gallons for sure, and then we're adding this many to it. So we're going to have this much plus this much, or all in all, it's going to look like this, X plus 100. And here's our equation right here. 70% of this solution is, 70% of all this is salt. 20% of all this is salt. Now 70% of is time, so here's our equation. 0.70x plus 0.20 times 100, this is equal to 0.60 times x plus 100. Now, we're going to get rid of the decimals. If I multiply this by 100, it moves the decimal points over 2 places. So the thing we're going to do here is just multiply by 100. That gets rid of all the decimals. So now we'll get this. 70x plus 20 times 100 is equal to 60 times x plus 100. So this will give us 70x plus, now 20 times 100 is a 2 and then 3 zeros, equals 60x plus a 6 and 3 zeros. We can solve this now. I've got 70x's on the left side, only 60 on the right. So let's subtract this 60x. So the plan is to subtract 60x, write those. So we'll get 70x minus 60x is 10x plus 2,000. Now that's equal to 6,000. Let's subtract this 2,000, right? Subtract the 2,000. So we'll get 6,000 minus 2,000 is 4,000. So we'll get 10x equals 4,000. And then if we divide by 10, we'll get x is 400. So I think we've got our solution here. But I'm not going to write it as x equals 400, right? The question is, how many gallons of a 70% solution? Well, x was that number. So what we've got here is this, 400 gallons. Or if you like, just 400. Number 5 says, a pharmacist wishes to mix a solution that's 5% minoxidil. So it looks to me like this is how much she wants at the end, right? She wants to mix a solution that is this. That's how much she wants to come out with. Now here's what she has. She has on hand 70 milliliters of a 3% solution and wish to add some 7% solution to obtain that 5% solution. All right, so here's what I see going on here. We've got, or she's got, what? On hand, she has 70 milliliters of a 3% solution, and she wants to add into that, right? She wants to add into that a 7% solution. So add some. Well, we don't know how much. So we've got some of this 7% solution. We don't know how much. That'll be x. And then we're going to pour that into what she's got on hand. And what does she have on hand? 70 milliliters of a 3% solution. So what's in hand is 70, and that's 3%. And what she wants to come out with here is, okay, a little bit more, is, well, what does she want? She wants a 5% solution. So this is 0.05. And then, how much does she have in here? Well, she's got the 70 that she had, and she's going to add this much. So what she's going to have in here is the x plus 70. And now, you can see, I hope that this is setting up just like this one, except it just, this one we just read straight. This one we had to work a little bit backwards. Let's solve the equation here. We get 0.07x plus 0.03 times 70 plus 0.05 times x plus 70. And again, I'm going to multiply by 100, right? So multiply by 100 to get rid of those decimals. We'll get 7x plus 3 times 70 equals 5 times x plus 70. This will give us 7x plus 210 equals 5x plus 350. Now, I'm going to subtract the 5x from both sides. So 7x minus 5x is a 2x plus 20 equals 210 equals 350. Now, subtract the 210 from each side. So we'll get 2x equals, now, 350 minus 210 is going to be 140. So we get 140. Divide by 2, we'll get x equals 70. So there we go. So what we have is 70 milliliters of, and what was the 70? Follow it all the way back. What was 70? That was the x. That's the number of milliliters of the 7% solution. And that's what we're looking for. Number 6, we've got how many ounces of this 35% alcohol solution do we have to mix in with 8 ounces of a 40% solution to get some solution that's 39%, a 39% solution? So let's draw the beakers here. We're going to start here with a beaker of, now what have we got in this first beaker? How many ounces of this? Okay, I don't know. That's the 35% solution. We don't know how many ounces, so that'll be x. And this will be 0.35, 35%. We're going to pour this into, that is, we're going to add it into what? Into what here? 8 ounces of a 40% solution. So inside we'll have 8 ounces, and this is going to be 40%. And what we want to end up here with is probably a little bit more. We want to end up with, what? A 39% solution. So we're going to take this 40% solution, dilute it just a little bit down to 39. So what we want here is 39.39. And how much do we have in here? Probably have it by now, right? We've got 8 already. We're adding this much to it. So how much? X. So x, and then add on that 8. So how much is in here? Is the x plus 8. And here's our equation. 0.35x plus 0.40 times 8 equals 0.39 times x plus 8. And again, I'm going to multiply by 100 to get rid of those decimals. So we're looking at 35x plus 40 times 8 equals 39 times x plus 8. Let's keep going. 35x plus, now 8 times 40 is 320. This is equal to 39x. Let's distribute, right? 39x, and then 39 times 8 is 312. Do that on your calculator if you have to. Now, look what I've got here. I've got 35x's on the left side, but I've got more on the right side. So let's get all the x's over here on the right side. So the plan now is going to be subtract 35x, right? Let's subtract these. So if we do that, we will get 320 equals, and now 39x's minus 35x's leaves 4x's plus 312. Let's subtract that 312, so we'll get 320 minus 312 leaves 8 equals 4x. Divide by 4, x is 2, and what is x? Follow it all the way back up here. X was the number of milliliters, or ounces in this case, ounces of the 35% solution. That's what we want to know. So what we need here is 2, our answer is going to be How many ounces? 2 ounces, or if you'd like, just 2.